You're listening to Navid Moosa of The Mindset Movement. Good day, good people. My name is Navid Moosa. I'm your host today and always for The Mindset Movement. First-time listeners, thanks for giving us the opportunity to earn your trust and your loyalty. There is a lot of information out there. We understand that, but you stopped here and you listen here, and we hope you're coming back for us. Thank you very much. Long-time listeners, thanks for being loyal to us. We appreciate you just as much. So, as always, no delay. Let's get into it. I respect your time. I respect my time and my team's time. So, this is week 3. We're talking about, this is the Business in the Box series. Week 1, we covered corporate company structure, LLC, S Corp, C Corp. I think we touched a lot on LLC, being that we have a lot of small business listeners here, and that's the more entity of choice, if you will. Last week, we spoke about bookkeeping, accounting in general, but bookkeeping, how bookkeeping is your foundation. You can have a really good accounting system and accountant, but without a foundation of a strong bookkeeping system in place, you're not going to get the proper advice to make sure you protected your hard work. This week, we're going to talk about insurances. I know it's a very boring topic. It is, no doubt about it, but it's a necessity. We're not here to talk about, rip-offs and all that other kind of stuff. We're here to strictly talk about the nooks and crannies of it. So I'm going to talk about the first half we're going to discuss is going to be GL, which is general liability. We're going to talk about E&O, like the letters E and O, errors and omissions, and we're going to talk about workman's compensation. So we're going to talk about those 3 here, and I have all those 3, by the way, which is why I think it's easy to talk about. So I did go online, and I'm going to read some documents here and there, and you may hear some papers in the background. It's just so I don't want to misspeak. So first thing we're going to touch on is workman's comp. Now, for the most part, workman's comp is just that your workers get compensated if something were to happen on site, right? So I have some bullet points here. I went to the website called thehartford.com, and I went there and I just printed some stuff off. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't get paid from them or anything like that, which also brings up disclosure time. I'm not a financial advisor. It does not be considered legal advice by any stretch of the imagination. This is just me trying to give you guys some value-added information. That's all. So when you look for workman's comp, right, you can say, I need workman's comp insurance. Give me the cheapest one. And that's all a lot of us do. I need workman's comp. The state requires it for me to be in compliant. Just give me the cheapest policy. I have 2 people who are employees of mine. I need compensation for both. Okay, fine. So you go, you get the cheapest package, and that's it. That's on you. So you do want to go beyond that, okay? In my opinion, what you should do is not just say, I need the cheapest policy. These workers are helping you build your business. These workers are basically the face of your company. Even if they're not out there, if they're just people in the back end, that's what your business foundation is off of, right? Is these workers. They're the ones who are showing up. They're loyal to you. They're coming in and day out. And so you want to make sure they're taken care of properly, right? So some of the things I think you may want to be covered for, and this is just my opinion, and I went to hartford.com and got some information from there. Legal expenses, of course, right? So if an employee makes a claim of a work-related illness or injury, this coverage usually is covered, included workman's comp insurance, but you can increase the amount of the coverage that you get for that. Employees who are injured in states outside those where your business normally operates. Number 3, various types of injuries and illnesses. Number 4, funeral expenses and financial support to dependents. And 5, reimbursement percentages for lost wages. God forbid something were to happen, one of your employees passes away while on the job, you can then help compensate their family they left behind. Remember, these people came to work for you. They believed in you. You're a small business. They could be your first employee. They could have got a job somewhere else potentially, but they came to work for you. So you should have some kind of commitment. So you don't just, in my opinion, don't just want to go out and say, give me the cheapest policy. That's it. It's more like, hey, here's what I have. Here's my business. Okay, my business is this. This is what I do. This is how I thrive. This is how I survive. This is how I feed. So I need my employees to be properly compensated for that when it comes to insurance-wise. How do I make sure that if something were to happen while they're on the job, whether it be on-site or off-site, that they're protected and my company's protected, right? So that's workman's comp in a nutshell. You're going to hear some paper shuffling in the background, like I said, so because I'm just going through some notes. Also from the Hartford is general liability. General liability is similar to workman's comp, but how workman's comp protects your people, general liability protects your company from a client. So if a client or customer were to get injured or something like that, you have protection. So that's what general liability insurance kicks in. Workman's comp is for the workers. General liability is for your customer, your client, if something were to happen to them. So I'm going to, like I said, I got some bullet points here that I'm just going to kind of read off. I went to thehartford.com and I got this from there. What does general liability insurance cover? A customer or client's medical expenses if they slip and fall on your business. Repair costs to fix a wall that the employee accidentally damaged while working at a customer's home. Legal costs to defend your business in a lawsuit. Judgments and settlements from a customer or client's lawsuit. General liability insurance can also help cover claims of bodily injury or property damage, reputational harm resulting from malicious prosecution, slander, libel, wrongful eviction, violating a person's privacy, and more. Advertising injuries, such as copyright infringement from your business ads. Medical costs, if your customer or client hurts themselves while visiting your business. And last but not least, damage to rented properties caused by a covered loss such as fire, lightning, or explosion. Again, I got this information from thehartford.com. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't work with them. They don't work with me. There's no compensation here. I simply just went on Google. I put some things in and I found this information. So please definitely talk to your insurance rep when you are considering insurances. This is not any kind of advice. I'm just reading these off. Which brings me to another point. Where do you find these people? When I tell anybody, most of us have car insurance. Call that agent up and say you're thinking about doing this. And if they can't do it, I'm sure they know somebody who can. It's that field, right? So that field always kind of sticks together. So somebody knows somebody with there. So, and probably the last one, so I'm a licensed real estate agent for those who do not know. And so our company and a lot of agents, E&O, errors and omissions. Errors and omissions is huge for independent contractors. It really is. There's someone who gets 1099 as your sole form of income. And E&O is a very, very big thing where the GL, your brokerage has it. Workman's comp is really not for agents for the most part because they're not employees. They're self-employed. They're GCs, general contractor, independent contractors rather. So E&O, errors and omissions insurance. I got this information from nationwide.com. I got it from there. Again, not affiliated with Nationwide. They don't pay me. I don't pay them. We're not in business together. I just went on Google and I found these people. So having said that, what is E&O insurance? E&O insurance is kind of a specialized liability protection against losses not covered by traditional liability insurance. It protects you and your business from claims if a client sues for negligent acts, errors, or omissions committed during business activities that result in a financial loss. Here's an example. I have an agent in my office. They represented a client, a buyer. They put money down, EMD, earnest money deposit. They put down a deposit to purchase a home. It went ahead, they got an inspection done. The inspection revealed certain things that the buyer was not comfortable with, so they decided to back out of the deal. Now, the contract was written in such a way that the buyer was to give a deposit at signing of the contract, and they did. The buyer gave it, and that was met, that part of the contract. But they put a contingency in there that says, hey, we're going to get an inspection done. If this inspection comes back and there's things on there we don't like, we're either A, going to renegotiate with you, B, still accept what's there, or C, just walk away from the deal. Okay, the inspection came back, they didn't like it, they decided to walk away. Now, having said that, you still need to do what's called a termination agreement. So the termination agreement was drawn up. Here's where the mistake was. The mistake was that it said on the termination agreement that the EMD, the earnest money deposit, the money that was given at the time of the contract signing by the buyer to the seller, that money was to go back to the seller. So technically go to the seller, not back to, but go to the seller, not to go back to the buyer. Now, that was wrong. It should have been checked marked to go back to the buyer because the contingency of them getting out of the contract was basically invoked. So because it wasn't properly done and because the agent missed it, this became a litigation issue. And so the E&O, the errors and omission insurance, kicked in and was like, okay, our agent messed up, did the wrong thing, checkmarked the wrong box, and the wrong people got the money. But the buyer was entitled to it. Now, this could have gone many different ways. Thank God the agent, the buyer involved were very, very amicable to each other, very respectful to each other, and they worked it out and we got it resolved. But E&O is how that protects you. This is a human business, whether it be real estate or anything else. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to make errors. And whether we omit, or hopefully you're not omitting something on purpose, but we could miss something out of just a pure mistake. And E&O is going to help you kind of protect that from you. Think about that. Could have gone totally wrong. That transaction there could have totally gone off the rails in a whole different facet. So that's why E&O, a lot of independent contractors have that. So there's a little spiel here. I'm looking at my notes as I'm talking to you guys, telling you this story, and it goes, who needs E&O insurance? And it goes, you need errors and omissions insurance if you're in the business of providing a service to clients for a fee. We typically provide E&O coverage to printers, building trades contractors such as electricians, plumbers, HVAC installers, and sheet metal workers. E&O insurance is typically customized to meet specific needs of a business and or industry. So it's very important. E&O is important, general liability is important, and workman's comp is important. So we talked about those right here. And again, we're going to do a quick recap. Workman's comp is to protect your workers so they can be properly compensated if something were to happen on the job site. General liability is to properly compensate the client if you or your staff was at fault for doing some kind of damage to the client or their place. So general liability kicks in. Then we have E&O, errors and omissions. If you do something while on the job servicing something, like it says, if you're providing a service to a client for a fee, okay, which is most of us, and mainly important, like I said, it's really a lot of independent contractors who do this. Just in case something were to go wrong, not out of malice, it just happened as a legit mistake. It's an error. We are human. And this is where E&O kind of kicks in. So those are the three most popular. There's other insurances out there, but those are the three most popular ones that I wanted to talk about. All right, guys, that's it. I know that was probably brutal to hear me read some of that stuff about insurances, but listen, being an entrepreneur, being a small business, or even being a business in general, smaller or not or whatnot, it's not always sexy. It isn't. You have to wear so many different hats, and not every hat is going to be exciting. But I am a thorough believer that if you do every facet of your job or of your business, you can kind of respect when you have to hire somebody, whether it be a temporary person or a virtual assistant, or you're, hiring someone on a quarterly basis or monthly basis to do certain things that you don't want to do. You can kind of respect some of the boredom and the lack of sexy, if you will, that goes into some of these things. However, they are necessary. We need them, especially insurances. We definitely do need them. So thanks for tuning in. Like I said, this is the Business in a Box series. This is week number 3. Next week, join us for business credit, and then we'll be wrapping it up after that. So yeah, that's really about it. And as always, thank you very much for tuning in. And what else? What I always say? That's right. Take care of the client and everything else will fall into place. It's really that simple. Take care. Be good. Be safe.